Here's the constitutional challenge. Here's where in the Constitution. Only one class did it. You don't have to memorize the things that are on this, the locations. The reason I wanted to do this activity, but the only class I got to do it was first period, took a little time, is that these are things that you should know, just in general. You don't have to know where they are. But you should know that states cannot, well actually you don't really need to know that too much either. No religious tests, that kind of stuff. All right? There's also Constitution Equity, which some classes got to a little, some didn't. These older review exercises, I just keep them up there because they're kind of good. These are old review casts of me talking, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, the Bill of Rights hasn't changed in a long time. Okay? So, do you have any questions about structure of the Constitution? Or what it is? Little c Constitution is what? What's little c? What is it, Danny? And this all goes. This goes in order completely in your notebooks. So it should go like from page to page. Go ahead, Danny.
The little Constitution. It is like the structure and laws, and like rules of a government.
Structure, laws, and rules of the government. It's how the government is set up. Okay. What's the big C Constitution?
The Constitution, the supreme law of the land.
Of this country. All right, and that's what we call the Constitution. If we're in another country, they might call it something else. All right, so our Constitution. Why do we like them? Because what do they do, Michaela?
Actually, I just don't really know.
Why do we like constitutions? What do they do?
Limit government
The governments don't have rights.
Limit government powers.
Limits government's powers, so they protect us. Okay? Basic outline. Article 1 is what branch?
Legislative.
Article 2.
Executive.
Article 3. Okay. 4, have full faith and credit. Don't have that memorized. You should just know that if the laws of one states are supposed to look at each other's laws and say, yeah, your law is good. Although there's been some wiggle room around that. For example, if I'm a doctor, anybody's parents doctors? So your dad is a doc, right? He's got a license to practice medicine in Wisconsin. If he goes down to Florida, they might not let him practice medicine. Same thing with a lawyer. You might have to.
Yeah, my mom.
She might have to get a temporary like license or something like that.
She got one in Minnesota, but no, she'd have to get a new one in Wisconsin.
I don't know. Sometimes though, some states like Minnesota and Wisconsin sometimes have what's called reciprocity.
Yeah,
Which is like I think a teaching license in Minnesota is good in Wisconsin, and a teaching license in Wisconsin is good in Minnesota. A teaching license in Wisconsin is not good in Texas. You got to get a Texas teaching license. Yep, Grace.
Wait, I got confused. So the little c is the principles, structure, and laws of government?
And the big C is our principles and structures and laws of our government. Because every state has a constitution. So you can see something that's about a constitution, and there could be a C. If it's a big C, it's the big one. The little c, it could be a state constitution. It could be, a constitution of another country, something like that.
What does C stand for?
It's the first letter.
What do you mean by little
Like
constitution?
the big constitution.
I'm sorry, lowercase and then uppercase. How's that?
Or a
Is
constitution?
that cool? Article, you should know Article 5 is the amendment process. You don't need to know 6. All right, you should know what's in 6, but you don't need to know supremacy, but you don't need to know that it's number 6.
So we don't need to know like legislative, judicial,
Yes.
full faith,
You need to know 1, 2, 3, and 5. You need to know where it is. You need to know the stuff that's in the other ones, but not that.
It's number 5.
Yes. All right. Goals listed in the preamble. Got it? Memorize them.
Established.
Easiest way to do it, Schoolhouse Rock.
Sing the song.
Sing the song.
The preamble.
How do constitutional topics match up with these goals? I could give you a headline, and you might need to need to say that, or I could ask you, give me an example of the United States government fulfilling the goal of establishing justice.
Oh, the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court would be an example. All right. How about providing for the common defense? The Army. Just so you know, so it's not memorizing, it's understanding what these things mean. All right. Securing the blessings of liberty.
The freedom of speech.
Yes. The Bill of Rights. All right, Emma.
Can you go over the structure of the Constitution again?
It's Article 1, legislative, Article 2, executive, Article 3, judicial. It's on a green piece of paper that you have. It's called Structure of the Constitution.
Means we're all copyrighted?
You just need a 1, 2, 3, and 5. It's right listed right there. The basic principles. You should be able to identify, define, and apply them to actual situations. I could give you a headline. That headline could say, Wisconsin voters go to the polls to elect a governor. Which principle is that? It could be republicanism because we're electing somebody to represent us, even though they don't really technically represent us, but I would take that one. What else would I take? I would take popular sovereignty. What else? You could argue that it's federalism because it's in your state, but you'd have to say that states have executives and national governments have executives. Federalism itself, that's the big Venn diagram. How is power divided between the national government and the state and local governments? You should know that the national government has what kind of powers?
Reserve.
Nope, national government.
Oh, executive or delegated?
Nope. Don't guess.
Non-legislative.
Look at your notes. You goofballs. Turn it over, Holly. What are the name of the national government's powers?
Or exclusive.
The exclusive powers. Only the national government has them. For example, what? Bankruptcy.
Mail.
Not taxi.
U.S. Post Office.
U.S. mail.
Drafting the army.
Anything about the army.
Declare
Printing
war.
money.
Declare war.
Declaring war.
Copyrights.
Copyrights. Postal service. Passports. Anything dealing with international stuff. All right? That is all exclusive. What are the state powers called?
Reserves.
Anything not given to the national government is reserved for the, for example, schools, marriage, hunting, fishing, alcohol, marijuana,
Hunting.
running elections. All right. Are there some federal election laws? Yes, there are. There are some federal, but setting up elections are done by the state level. At the state level, the national government could say that you can't hunt a certain bird. It could be on a national, but it's almost always done at the state level. Then there are some things that both governments can do. What are those called? The
Concurred.
concurrent powers, for example,
Like the tax
prisons, tax,
and
welfare, make laws, enforce laws, interpret laws. Okay? Why is it a successful system in the U.S.? Why does it make sense, according to me? It's successful because,
It works.
but why does it work? Why is it logical? What does the national government do?
It does national stuff.
Does
and
national
state government
stuff.
does
State governments do
state stuff.
state stuff. It makes sense. It's logical. All right? Congress, you got a pink piece of paper. That pink piece of paper, that is your go-to. All right? You should know the difference between the House and the Senate. Which one has only 100 members?
Senate.
Which
And
one is the-
representatives of 430.
Which one is the lower house?
The
House of Reps.
Which one is based on population?
House of Reps.
Which one deals with reapportionment?
Senate. No, House of
What's reapportionment?
I don't know.
What's reapportionment? Veda.
both hiring and firing.
No? What's reapportionment? Gordon, what is it?
The seats in the House of Representatives are redistributed every 10 years.
It could change every 10 years. Can they change in the Senate?
No.
Two, no matter what. Which one do you represents? Do the persons represent the entire state?
Senate.
What do they represent in the House?
The
people
the
plus the
district.
party.
Districts. Okay, they do represent the people, but they represent districts. So Paul Ryan is a Wisconsin representative, but he doesn't represent me. Tammy Baldwin is a Wisconsin senator. She represents everybody in Wisconsin. Same with Ron Johnson. Kelly?
We have to know like the names of the governors.
Not in test, but you should know them. Okay, delegated or enumerated powers. Those are the powers that are written down.
In black and white.
In black and white, you can find them. They're in Article 1, Section 8. You had to list a lot of them. The ones that are hard are the implied powers. I will promise you, this will be the question. Define implied powers using the N and P words and give examples of the government or Congress using its implied powers. Define implied powers. What are implied powers? Ava? They're not written down, but they are to do what? Necessary and proper to do what?
To fulfill
The ones that
the enumerate or
they're not written down, but they're powers that are necessary and proper to fulfill the ones that
The ones that
are written down. So if you want to use implied powers, if Congress wants to use implied powers, it still has to go to the Constitution and say that it's got a link to one of those that are written down. So, for example, Congress can't say that, well, we could pass a law saying that, stopping hunting in Wisconsin, because there's nowhere in there, in the things that are written down, where they can link it to that. They can say, Congress could pass a law, though, that says that they can make cigarette companies put stickers on their cigarette packages that says that smoking can kill, which Congress has done. Because cigarettes are sold across state lines, which means that they are interstate commerce. They can draft soldiers because of the Army. They can make stamps because of the post office. They can, well, it says they can coin money and print money. Nowhere does it say that they can make a law saying that it's illegal to destroy money. But that's implied. Because they can coin, yeah, it's a law. They, oh, yeah. Not, no. Yeah, it's against the law. Now, are they going to do it if I rip up $1? No. But if you ever go to a a carnival or whatever, and you can get like paperweights that have $1 million shredded in them or whatever. They say that it's shredded money.
Yeah.
Congress has okayed that
Why?
because Congress has to control the money supply.
But why do they do that? But why would they have?
Well, 'cause
Why would they get money out of circulation? Because it's old dollars. They want to get old dollars out and keep putting new dollars in. Okay? Do you understand implied?
Yeah.
Congress, it doesn't say that they can do anything about immigration, but it says naturalization. So when you give me examples, you have to link it to one that is written down. Okay?
It does say things about immigration, or it doesn't?
It doesn't say anything about controlling immigration. But why can Congress pass laws about immigration? Because it says naturalization. And it's implied that, well, if you're going to say how somebody can become a citizen, well, then you can say how somebody can come into the United States.
I have a question.
All right? Holly.
So for implied powers, should you list the delegated or enumerated powers first and then?
I would link it.
Show
Or either or, you could say that, Congress can raise an army, so therefore it's implied that they can make an air force.
Oh, okay.
It's not listed. So you want to make the link. Okay? Beta?
So for House of Representatives.
And I promise you that question is on there.
For House
It's a
of
promise. You're recording it. It's a promise.
Representatives, 435 members. Does that include the 6 non-voting people?
It's 435 voting members. And I'll say 435. That's the number.
6 non-voting.
Yeah, the 435 is the one I want you to know. Okay? What else? And then Congress also has those non-legislative powers. Impeach, impeach, investigate, and confirm appointees. And each one of those is an example of
How people check out.
non-legislative powers and checks and balances. So where would that come up in a test? A headline. If you see anything about impeach, Congress talking about impeaching the president,
Then you could say legislative.
that's non-legislative powers. It's also checks and balances. All right? Confirming a treaty. Also checks and balances, non-legislative powers. The point is, who's got a lot of power?
Congress.
Probably more than you thought they did before you came to class in
Because of
September.
the interstate commerce.
A lot of it's because of interstate commerce, but a lot is in the other powers they have. Emma?
Should we memorize the hacks of the president?
I mean, you should know them, yeah. I don't know if I'd say memorize. I'd rather have you understand them.
On top of the sticker, it says where is established for like the judicial branch.
Where's it? The legislative branch? Article 1. Okay. Commerce power. Again, that interstate commerce power gives Congress a lot of power. Because what is interstate commerce?
It's anything that can
Almost every trade.
This. Football. I mean, in theory, could Congress investigate the NFL for either concussions or domestic violence?
What about steroids?
In theory, they did for baseball because it's interstate commerce.
What do you
Record
mean?
industry, music industry, like I said, cigarettes. Even alcohol. Congress can make some laws about alcohol because it crosses state lines. They don't necessarily make laws about drinking age or anything.
Yeah, I don't understand what you mean